There were a few people at the workshops yesterday that we have a kind of a standard question that says, I get so many emails a day. There are quite a few at the 80 to 100, which Bill Redman, who he knows, said like 20 and is like okay. Cognitively, it's okay. You're not going to be under stress. Like 40 is probably beginning to be dangerous for the organisation. 80 is like you're going to throw yourself off a bridge, yeah? So people with 80 emails a day, I've said to people, how do you answer them? Well, I don't. I've got 2,500 in my inbox. And I said, well, that's not actually that's not honest. Why don't you switch Outlook off and don't have email anymore? Because in the 70s, we built things without email. Why don't you switch it off? And I said, well, that's just completely out of the question. Well, okay, it might sound it, but at least it's honest. There's a dishonesty around. I think there's a really good case for doing simple scorecards, but I think there's a dishonesty around, corporate organizational systems like email that are out of control, and it's that kind of. If I was running something right now, I'd definitely switch that off. And there are a few places. So how as an organisation have you kind of dealt with that? Because if you've got people with 2,000 unread emails, you have no idea whether that's the important stuff or the rubbish stuff. How do you deal with that?
So I think first of all, so it's a big challenge because we've got all this stuff bombarding us all of the time. So I think first of all, what you've got to do is you've got to set your expectations in terms of when people engage with email or even meetings. Okay, so for me. And I know that people say we can multitask and all this type of stuff, but I have a real problem with people doing their emails in meetings.
Yeah.
Okay? Because actually I'm not a big fan of meetings that go a long time, so I'd rather have my meetings be half an hour long, certainly no longer than an hour, and if it's only going to be that short period of time, we'd better all be engaged and we better all be on point. And I don't think you can be sitting there answering your emails. So the no emails in meetings is a key thing for me. So what we'll find is, and actually, no meetings at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. Because at the beginning of the day, you should be standing up your teams to be successful. And at the end of the day, you should be getting feedback of how that day went and how do you have to adjust for tomorrow. And that applies whether you're in the office, in the field, or whatever it is. So don't arrange your meetings for first thing in the morning and don't arrange your meetings for the end of the day. So having that clarity around when you will have meetings, when you won't have them, when you can do email, when you don't do email is important. But then the danger becomes, okay, now I can't do my email in the meetings. Have I got to do it at night and everything else like this? I think saying to your staff, look, the way that I do things is I just, if I find time and I look at it, I do it. So being clear to my team that, look, the fact that I send you an email at 9 o'clock tonight does not mean that I'm expecting you to answer it at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. Telling them it's okay, it's just the way I work. I want to get it done, move it on. I won't don't copy 1,000 people, just send it to people. If you get it, so just send emails to people, don't copy emails to people. And then tell them it's okay not to, you don't have to respond at 9 o'clock in the evening as well. I think it's really important to be present. Okay, whatever you're doing, it's really, really important to be present. I know that, I'm here today. Unfortunately, I have 2 calls to make this afternoon for half an hour at 2 and 1 at 4, and I know I have to do those things, and I couldn't get out and I couldn't change them. They're with clients and stuff like this. But for the rest of the time, I switch my phone off because I want to be present. I want to learn. I want to engage. I want to be present. Now, when I switch on my phone, I know I'm going to have lots of voicemails, but I'll deal with that then.
Yeah, that's brilliant.